Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Friday, May the 18th, and this will be our chart lesson for today. And I'm kind of backed out here so you can see the bigger picture. We spent a good bit of the good portion of the morning in a trading range. It was really a wedge shape, and I'm going to ask you how many of y'all remember the trend line that the multi-day trend line that I showed you from yesterday. Let me back out of here, and that's the one we had from yesterday. And you can see how it came into play early this morning. And so hopefully you were aware of that because I showed you the trend line yesterday and we never had a break. And you can see we touched it here. This was before the regular open. Here, right after the regular open. Here, here. All of those touches were good trades. And look, we had a break right here. And then guess what we had after that? You had your break of your trend line. There's your first leg in your correction down to a new low, and there's your second leg. And you can see we went a little bit further than that, and because it was late on a Friday and the market had been down all day, we didn't really rally out of there, and I'm not surprised. So um, anyway, just to show you that even on the larger level, the trend line rules. You know, you had your break of this trend line. Right here was the first real break of that trend line, and then we had a two legs down, and then my guess is this is going to rally out of here next time price is open, and then we'll have a failed break below this little double bottom after two legs down to a new low and a trend line break. And that doesn't mean prices are going to rally and go completely higher again, but it does mean we'll get an extended rally that'll last for, half a day or so probably. That's just, nothing's ever written in stone, but that's just generally what will happen. And so it's my guess that's probably what we'll see on Sunday evening or Monday whenever the market opens. So, but let's talk about the trades real quick. I'm going to be real brief with these trades. And then I'm going to tell you about a few things. One thing I want to say, I was thinking about is really odd. I was thinking about this on the way to the office this morning about having this using one of the chart lessons to have this conversation, and then lo and behold somebody sends me an email and really asked me exactly what I had on my mind. And so I sent him a real detailed from the heart message back. And so I didn't tell him in that message, though. He's probably listening now and probably grinning, knowing that I'm talking about him. And I never call any names when I talk about anybody. But I mean, it was a completely legitimate question. He just asked. He says, how do I get a grasp on this? I'm really struggling to understand how to learn to enter based on what I'm teaching. And the thing you got to understand with price action is you're not it's not a static trading system. In other words, there's not a list of rules and every time you see this you do this, or every time you see that you do that. Really what we're doing, this is a dynamic trading system that you have to use your head and you have to use your eyes and your senses, and you have to watch price action and know what's going on. You have to learn to read a chart. And I'm not going to talk about any other trading techniques or any other teachers. I'm not going to name anybody because there are some other legitimate trading systems out there. There's some other legitimate teachers. But I'm going to tell you this, and I'm telling you this from my heart. Take it for what it's worth. But there are hundreds of internet marketers teaching trading systems that are designed for one thing and one thing only, is that they're designed to look cool, to look sexy, and to look enticing, and to look like they're the Holy Grail, and they're anything but. And the sad thing about it is I don't knock those people that are selling it, really. I do, because it's unethical. But the biggest thing about it that I don't like about it is that the buyers, they allow it to happen. They want to believe that there's some secret to trading that will allow them, that they just haven't learned yet, that once they learn it, they will suddenly open up the coffers and they're going to make their fortune trading the markets. And it just is not so. The people that make money in the markets consistently know how to read a chart. That's the bottom line. And I believe that with all my heart. I don't believe there's sure, there's some indicators that, occasionally you're going to give you a good trade, and they may give you a good trade a couple of times, but in the end, you're going to lose money if you're just trading off what an indicator says, because they're wrong 90% of the time. I don't care how secret it is. I don't care how involved it is, the only way to consistently make money in the markets is to know how to read a chart and to understand price action and to know what's going on. And anybody that's making money, I guarantee you, they may not realize that they're doing it because they know how to read a chart, but that's why they're making money. And so I've said my piece, and I'll just be honest with you, I'm basically giving away what you need to be learning when there's people that will charge you thousands and thousands of dollars to teach you something just simply because it's what you want to hear or what you want to see, and it sounds sexy, and it means absolutely nothing when it comes to making money in the markets. So, okay, I said my piece, and I'm not knocking anybody. I don't have any particular, I don't even know any other traders that say, I know some names because I've heard them, people have asked me about them, but I don't know anything about their product. So I don't specifically know any specific product that's terrible, and I'm not naming any specific product that's good. I'm just telling you that the only way to really make money in the markets is to know how to read a chart and to understand price action and to know what's going on in front of you. Otherwise, you're just guessing, you're gambling, and you're eventually going to lose your money. That's why 90% of people lose money, because they don't stay with it long enough to learn to read a chart. And the only reason I know how to do it is because I've had thousands of hours sitting here in front of this stupid screen watching it tick up and down, tick up and down, tick up and down. And I hate it. It's boring. And that's why I got into teaching, because it's once you learn to make money in the markets and you get to where you can do it, it is really a boring. I mean, I've watched prices tick up and down so long that it just, sometimes I don't even want to turn the chart on, but I know that's how I make my living. So it's not going to be, if it's still exciting for you, you're probably trading for the wrong reason, because once you get it and once you start to make money, it's probably not going to be that exciting. I still love trading. I love talking about it. I love being involved and telling other people about it. And I think that's why I like doing this part of the teaching, because of that reason, because it's so boring just sitting here trading it every day. And, you know, normally when I'm trading, I'll shut the door. I try to turn the phones off and everything. And then when I'm done trading, then I try to do the rest of my business around here. So, but anyway, some of you may not want to hear that, but I'm just telling you that's coming directly from my heart, from how I feel, and I'm very passionate about that. So I'm not just saying it to be saying it. And but I'll get off my soapbox and we'll talk about the trades, and then we're going to wrap it up. It's Friday. I'm going to get out of here as soon as I finish this. But you had your trend line coming down for multiple days there. You got a second entry short here, a second entry short here, and a second entry short here. All three right off the trend line. Easy trades. They're only good for scalps. Even this one worked, I think. But this one was iffy because look at the overlapping bars. Remember what I tell you. Here we got a little trap. As you notice, prices came up, touched the line, pulled back, came up and tested it again, made a double top right at the trend line, and then reversed. So we got trap long. So going short right there is a great trade. And look at that move. Any runners were good for several points right there. And where would you think it would bounce? If you didn't see it already on the chart, where would you think that was going to bounce? Anytime we're coming back, we're going to look for the first bounce to maybe be here, and definitely probably get a bounce here. And if not there, we're definitely going to get one down here. And look, prices come down, and where's the first place they bounce? Right there where that last low was. Then they come back and they bounce again. So we know we got strong support here. So anything going short, we got to have room to get out of there. And we got to have the right setup. But when you get a second entry short off a trend line with a reversal bar, you got to take it. And so here's your first move. Let me back out of here a little more. You got a new low right here. Your first move up, there's your first entry short, your second leg up, and there's your second entry shorts. And remember, for you guys that are struggling with what a second entry is, it's not magical. It's nothing special. It's just two legs this way, and then we're looking for a move the other way. And there it is, one leg up, pull back, second leg up, and then look what happens. One leg down, pull back, second leg down. So there's two legs in that direction. One leg up, pull back, second leg up, then another pull back, and then so forth. So every time you make a new low, and we didn't get a new lows in here, so then you know, and you're not making new highs really either, so then you know this is choppy right here. So going long out of here is dangerous because there's not much room before the trend line, and going short here is getting more dangerous because there's not much room before the lows here. So the fact that this is squeezing in is making it less attractive to take more trades. But when you get one off the trend line like these with grid setups and they're second entries, you got to take those. And all of them work. This one worked by the skin of one hair off your chin because it was exactly a 6-tick move. If your stop was here, you had 5 more from there, and that's exactly what it takes. And it's amazing how many times, even when prices are going to reverse, you'll get that scalp because that's such a consistent trade, and so many people are watching it that they'll push the market on down just to get out. And so I can only tell you that they work, and they work well, and they very rarely fail, even if they only get 5 ticks. So you just about have to take those. This one was iffy because look at all the overlapping bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those overlapping dudes, and they're all going every way. And the last one was a doji. So going short there that's a reason to stay out of that one. And let's just see, 1, no, 2. See, that one wouldn't have worked. You'd have got stuck. That was a 4-tick failure. And if you'd have reversed, you'd probably got burned again if you didn't have your stop down here, even though prices did go higher. And that right there is a breakout pullback long. Look, prices broke above the trend line, pulled back, tested it, and then reversed. So you could have gone long there. There was nothing wrong with that, thinking that prices are coming back up here to test these highs. So it's not a great setup, so I didn't mark it, but it's valid. But here's another really good setup. Now you got your trading range. You know your support's here. You know your previous resistance was up here. We're outside the trend line, although we know we're probably going to come back and test it. So we're looking for a good short up here. And look how far away prices are from that EMA. When you can enter right here, that's just an easy gimme right there, knowing that we're going to at least come back to that EMA, and that's exactly what it did. Nice, easy trade. Probably didn't get a runner out of that one, but it was an easy scalp. And look at prices all the way down. And there just wasn't really a good entry right in here. Is the reason I didn't mark it. There's a second entry short right here. Here's your new low, your pullback. Prices started, then you tried to go higher again. So a break below another bar is a second entry. And if you went to a smaller chart, you'd see it. It's not a real good second entry, but it's still one. And it would have worked. You would have had to sit here and ride it out, but it wasn't a good setup. None of this. This is just too choppy. And we're getting too close to the strong support. And even though prices broke through, there's just not any good setups in there. And there was a long right here. Remember what I told you yesterday? Just like up here, when you get way away from the EMA like this, and you've had a really strong move, and you start to get all these overlapping bars, when it breaks lower and below a couple of matching bars, it traps people and then it reverses. So going long, and that's a quick, easy scalp back up to that's all you're looking for. You're counter trend trading, and unless you think you've hit a bottom, you might hold a runner there because sometimes that's where you get really good runners. But generally, if it starts to overlap right up here near a previous high or near the EMA, I'll just exit out. And so I exited out right there, and then you're going short again. And there it is, a nice pullback to test that trend line, a double top. It's a breakout pullback from all these lows across here. And so another nice short, and look at that move. Nice move down. And at that point, I thought we were going to make another leg like this right here, but we didn't. We corrected. And then you got to be thinking, okay, was that the first leg? And now we're going to get a bigger leg. Because remember, this is a much bigger picture trend line. So when you back out, let me show you what it looks like. It looks like a trend line and then just a couple of legs with some multiple legs in that leg. So it doesn't look quite the same when you back out. And you got to remember that. And you don't want to be looking at a bunch of different charts. You got to learn to see all that on one chart. And but anyway, but now you've had your trend line break, and we're going higher. I marked a long right here. I want to show you why I marked this one, and this one was really hard to see because most people, you probably shouldn't have taken it with it being right here in this trend line, but we already had this break, and we've had a pretty good move down, and so any correction is probably going to be bigger, and we still haven't quite gotten back up here. So I'm thinking they're going to shove it up there one more time and try to get there. And so when there was a second entry short right here It failed. And when you had those first two bars there, you should have drawn a trend line right there. And when it pulled back and touched it to the tick and reversed and closed on that high, you should have been ready for it right here. But you could have even entered right here. It's getting a lot more risky right here. But you could have entered either place. And look how bullish that looks right there. And that was an easy scalp as well. Probably, you know, you actually would have got some runners all the way up to here. So there were several points worth if you held any runners. And then we came back up and tested that breakout, went lower, came back, and then that what was acting as resistance now acts as was acting as support rather. This was support, remember. Now look what it's doing. It's acting as resistance, and it held really well. So there's you another great short right there, and look, off to the races. And you might have got a runner right here. I didn't trade this, but it's a nice setup. I was done by now. And I'm not sure if a runner would have survived because this bar did pull back. And somebody else asked me, yeah, I think it would have still survived by a single tick. Somebody else asked me that today. How do I manage my runners? You know, every time they try to get a runner going, they get stopped out. Well, generally, I'm looking at these previous places. A lot of times I'll just have my limit exit order sitting there resting, waiting on the market to get there, and I exit. But sometimes that'll cost you money. So once I get up here, let's say prices are getting up here and they're looking pretty good, I might cancel that limit order and I'll start moving my stop one tick below each bar. And if you did that, you would have ridden this ride all the way to right here. You can't get it all. It's very rare you're going to get it all unless you have an exit order resting here and prices turn right at where you're expecting, or like down here. If you're exiting down here with a resting order one tick off that line, you were getting all of those moves on the way down. But it's hard to get all of the moves. So if you can get, you know, if you can get 75 or 80% of it, you've done really good. Be proud of yourself and take your money and go to the bank, and don't get greedy, because getting greedy will take all your profits back. Trust me, I know. I've been there. I've done that. I've been greedy before. I've learned not to be greedy. I still get greedy, so don't think I don't. But that's pretty much it for the day. I didn't mark anything after that. I know that's only around lunchtime, but it's Friday, and there weren't really, you know, you could have shorted. When you start to get a trend like this, at this point, you should have been thinking, if you were still trading, that you're getting another leg like this, and you should have your trend line on there. And just like any other day, every time you get a pullback to it, sell it. So there's, you know, there's the first one that really came back. And or any breakout pullbacks down through here. There's a breakout pullback short. But you see how choppy it is. It's just really, you know, you hate to see a move like that and you can't get any of it, but sometimes it's just not worth chasing it. Excuse me. And so anyway, that's pretty much it for the day. I'm going to wrap it up. Again, sorry for my rant earlier, but I think it's important that some of you hear that because, and you know, I'm not trying to just make a plug for my stuff either. But I do know that if you're going to make money, the only way to do it is to learn to read a chart. There's not a holy grail. There's not some secret sauce. There really is a secret sauce, but it's just learning to understand what prices are doing. And by studying these videos and studying your charts every day, that's another reason I actually like to do the videos at the end of every day, because it forces me to go back and reevaluate the chart, and just to make sure that I saw it right the first time. And so it's a study. I mean, that's how I've gotten good at reading a chart, is because I do it every day for hours and hours and hours. And you know, when you've got as many hours sitting in front of this screen watching these little red and green bars create, trust me, even if you don't see it now and you're having a hard time seeing it, at some point you're going to see it. I promise you. It may take you a while, and you may give up before you learn to see it, but if you keep looking at it, eventually you're going to learn to see it. And it's just like I told the other gentleman this morning, I said, it's like being a golfer or learning to fly an airplane, or even driving when you're 15 or 16 years old. You know, you don't just jump in a car and feel comfortable driving a car when you're 16 years old. You know, you're having to think about every move you make. But think about driving a car now. If you've been driving one for years, I've been driving for 20, 30, 40 years. So, I mean, I get in the car and it's instinct now. It's just like if you do trading long enough, it will be that way with your trading. But it doesn't come easy and it doesn't come overnight. It takes a lot of practice. And I'm not a pilot, but I can only imagine how learning to fly a plane. If I got in the plane right now, I would be nuts. But I'm sure after I've been flying for 20 years, I get in there and you do it subconsciously and you don't even think about it. And some of you pilots I'm sure there's some out there listening right now, so jump in and make a comment if you agree or disagree. But, I'd be scared to death if I got behind the controls of an airplane right now. But if I did it for 20 years, I could probably be a good pilot, might be a great pilot, who knows? And you never know, I might not be a good pilot at all and may never make a good pilot. And some of you are trying to be traders and you're never going to be a trader because it's not meant to be. And I don't mean that, and I don't have anybody's name in mind, so don't take that the wrong way or think I'm talking about you. If it rings true to you, then maybe somebody else is talking to you, but it's not me, I promise you. So don't take that the wrong way. But there are people that are trying to trade that will never get it, and it's just not the right thing for them to be doing. And I mean, it's just like me. I'm not a professional baseball player, so I'm not going to try to play. And I'd love to be one. I think I'm a good baseball player, but I know I could never play for the New York Yankees. It'd be a pipe dream. And trading is just like that for some people. This is a pipe dream for some people, and you're never going to be able to do it. And don't take that the wrong way. It's just different people are designed for different things, and some people are not designed to be a trader because of the psychological and the mental aspects of it. Not only that, the chart reading skills that you got to have do it consistently. So anyway, I'm up to 22 minutes, and I'm sorry, I'm just on my soapbox today, and I hope I'm not offending anybody because that's not my intent. This is just something that's been on my mind that I wanted to talk about a little bit, so I thought I'd do it today, and I probably said more than I should have, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is back with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.